is News Tonight and I'm Evelyn Matthew. Let's bring you our top stories tonight. 26/11 verdict announced. Ajmal Kasab found guilty of all 86 charges against him.
आतंकवाद का एक नया चेहरा सामने आया है.
The judgment itself is a message to Pakistan that they should not export terror to India.
Planning Commission makes a generous contribution to Tamil Nadu. Karunanidhi says power generation will be given priority. Karunanidhi meets Sonia Gandhi, asks for surplus rice for Tamil Nadu. No discussion on Raja takes place. Tamil Nadu government sends recommendation letter to Union Home Secretary to allow Parvati Ammal to enter India. A weak heart and a weaker kidney. Are the city police fit enough for their duty?
Local police வந்துச்சுனா கிட்டத்தட்ட ஒரு 5 to 7% உடல்நிலை சரியில்லாம இருக்காங்க.
Saurav Deepika shown the door in Asian Senior Squash Championship finals. Ajmal Kasab, the lone surviving terrorist of the ill-fated 26/11 carnage, has been found guilty and has been convicted of all the 86 charges by a special court in Mumbai. The court said that Kasab had killed 7 people directly and that the conspiracy was hatched in Pakistan. The court pronounced 26/11 as an act of war, but after 191 days of trial and 658 witnesses, there's finally been justice for the families of over 150 victims. This trial is probably the fastest in a terror case in India. It's taken 17 months to deliver this judgment. The special court was in session for more than 2 hours. Charges were read out and the verdict was that Kasab was found guilty for all charges. Kasab remained unmoved in the court with nothing peculiar about him, just waiting to listen to his fate. Meanwhile, Kasab's village in Pakistan has disowned him. The Indian co-accused Fahim Ansari and Sabauddin Sheikh have not been found guilty as evidence against them were weak and they have been acquitted. The prosecution failed to prove the case against them. People and lawyers have expressed their happiness over the verdict. Lawyers of Ansari and Sheikh are obviously pleased and the victims' families believe that Kasab should not be given anything below a death sentence.
आतंकवादी अजमल अमीर कसाब को कोर्ट में सभी आरोपों में दोषी करार कर दिया है और अजमल अमीर कसाब को दोषी होने के कारण आतंकवाद का एक नया चेहरा सामने आया है. कसाब जीवित रहने के कारण ही कुछ लोगों का जो पोल दोगलापन खुल गया है. मैं इस निकाल से संतुष्ट जरूर हूं, फिर भी दुख इस बात का है कि इस ट्रायल के 2 अभियुक्त फहीम अंसारी और सबाउद्दीन कुरैशी को कोर्ट ने बरी कर दी है. इस फैसले के खिलाफ हम जरूर अपील करने का मैं सरकार को रेकमेंड करूंगा.
कोर्ट ने आगे ऑर्डर किया हुआ है कि 26/11 में किसी भी भारतीय का इन्वॉल्वमेंट नहीं था. आगे भी कोर्ट ने ऑब्जर्व किया, ये भी बताया कि अगर इस तरीके का विदेशी हमला था देश के ऊपर, एक तरीके का ये अपने आप में वार था, ये प्रॉक्सी वार भी नहीं होते हुए क्लियर कट वार था देश के ऊपर जो कॉन्स्पिरेसी के तहत किया गया था. क्योंकि ये 26/11 हमला विदेशी हमला था, इसमें देश के ऊपर बहुत ही घिनौनी सोच के साथ किया गया था जिसमें 160 लोग मारे गए थे. लिहाजा ये किसी चिट और किसी मैप के ऊपर नहीं किया गया था. जज ने इसको आगे बताया कि इन साइक्लोपीडिया और गूगल अर्थ में क्लियर कट एड्रेसेस और मैप्स और डिस्टेंस और पीरियड्स दिखते हैं. इस वजह से ये किसी चिट और मैप के ऊपर हमला नहीं था और चिट जो बरामद की गई है उस पर कोई ब्लड स्टेन्स नहीं है, रिंकल नहीं है. लिहाजा ये भी सिरे से खारिज कर दिया जाता है कि मैप के द्वारा दिए गए रास्तों से जाना चाहते थे और बीच में ये भी कोर्ट ने ऑब्जर्व किया क्योंकि अबू इस्माइल और कसाब कामा हॉस्पिटल में फंस चुके थे, वहां उनके मारे जाने की पूरी संभावना थी, लिहाजा उन्होंने चिट का कहीं पर हेल्प नहीं लिया। चिट कहीं से लगती है बनाई गई है और फ्रेम करने के लिए बनाई गई है।
Investigating agencies and the prosecution for marshalling the evidence and proving beyond reasonable doubt that Kasab and his associates were guilty of the horrific crimes with which they were charged before the court. Despite criticism from certain quarters, swayed by emotion and anger, we maintained that Kasab and the other accused ought to be tried in accordance with law and that they should have all the rights that are available to an accused under Indian law. It was an open trial. Kasab was represented by counsel. He was given full opportunity to plead his case. The case is ended in a conviction. The trial of Kasab underlines the fact that India is a country governed by the rule of law. A criminal trial in India can only proceed step by step. This trial started effectively about a year ago, and within a year we have brought it to a close. The prosecution has obtained a conviction. The next step is sentencing, and we should await the punishment for which the court that convicted a certain number of accused has also acquitted 2 accused. That shows the independence and the fearlessness and the integrity of the Indian court process. I have not read the judgment, or I cannot now comment on the contents of the judgment, but I am satisfied that within a year we've been able to bring a verdict of conviction on a large number of accused in perhaps a very complex trial. The judgment itself is a message to Pakistan that they should not export terror to India. If they do, and if the terrorists are apprehended, we will be able to bring them to justice and give them exemplary punishment.
The Home Minister P. Chidambaram there sending out a stern message to Pakistan that it should not export terror to India. In news from the capital, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Karunanidhi met Sonia Gandhi and Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and discussed several issues. Sonia Gandhi met with Karunanidhi and had asked for a surplus of rice for Tamil Nadu. He has also asked for the women's bill to be brought into Lok Sabha soon. After her meeting with Karunanidhi, the Congress president met with the Prime Minister. Though the opposition has trained its guns on A. Raja, the DMK has made it clear that they are backing the controversial telecom minister. A. Raja, who is a key member of the DMK, has been accused of a giant scam in the allocation of 2G spectrum in 2008. Talks on this issue were expected to be discussed in this meeting, but apparently no word on Raja has come up. A determined opposition had earlier raked up the 2G spectrum issue in a big way in the parliament. In the Rajya Sabha, AIADMK member V. Maitriyan demanded that the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh make a statement on the issue.
இன்னைக்கு மேடம் பாக்கும்போது என்ன
Well, there's good news for the state. The Planning Commission has allotted 20,068 crore rupees for Tamil Nadu. The Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission, Montek Sin Aluvalia, announced this in Delhi today. Karunanidhi was present at the meeting. The amount is 2,600 crores higher than the last year's allotment. Chief Minister Karunanidhi says priority will be given to electricity and power generation.
குறிப்பாக மின்சார உற்பத்தி பற்றி பேசணும். ஆனால் அவர்களிடத்தில் உணர்த்தியது ஒரு அரசு செய்கிற மின்சார உற்பத்தி என்றால் அடுத்து வருகின்ற அரசுகளுக்கு பயன்படுவது. ஆனால் எங்களுக்கு அப்படிப்பட்ட ஒரு நிலை இல்லை. இப்போது நாங்கள் உற்பத்தி செய்கிற மின்சாரம் அடுத்து வருகின்ற அரசுகளுக்கு பயன்படக்கூடிய அளவுக்கு இருக்கிறது. இப்பொழுது நாங்கள் நிறைவேற்றிருக்கின்ற மின்சார திட்டங்கள் எல்லாம் 2015 வருகிற அரசுக்கு பயன்படக்கூடிய திட்டங்கள். அது எங்கள் அரசாக இருந்தால் ஆச்சரியப்படுவதில்லை.
And A. Vaidyanathan, Chief Legal Correspondent with NDTV 24/7, spoke to us and gave us these details.
No, I think it's a very good allotment because the Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission has himself said that the Tamil Nadu government is doing very well, that too in the time of recession, and he just congratulated Tamil Nadu government and complimented for the social sector the government is spending, and it's one of the best states in the country. And he went on to say some 150 crores separately will also be allotted, and he said that management of water that has been discussed, because Karnataka yesterday said that when the neighboring states are not giving water, when these states and Tamil Nadu is going thirsty, the center should not remain a mute spectator. That's what he made a statement yesterday. So probably that was the thing when this was discussed on the water management today. So as you rightly said, this is 2,600 crore more than the allotment last year. I think Tamil Nadu government is quite happy. That's what Mr. Karnataka told media after the meeting is over. And the different heads, what are the allotment, Karnataka said he will inform when he goes back to Chennai. He is coming to Chennai tomorrow morning.
In news from the state, 2 weeks after the mother of slain LTTE chief Prabhakaran was deported to Malaysia, the Tamil Nadu government has recommended her case to the centre to allow her to visit Tamil Nadu for medical treatment. Sam Daniel reports.
Parvati Ammal, the 80-year-old paralytic mother of slain LTTE chief Prabhakaran, was sent back to Kuala Lumpur soon after she arrived at the Chennai airport last month with a medical visa. The reason? She figures in the list of persons banned from entering India. Now, following a letter from Parvati, the Tamil Nadu government has recommended to the Union Home Secretary that she be allowed to visit the state under certain conditions. The whole issue had been politicized when pro-Tamil parties championed the cause of Parvati, and Chief Minister Karunanidhi asked her to route her plea through the state government. While Karunanidhi seems to have won some brownie points in this humane issue, now the ball is in the centre's court. In Chennai with Shabir Ahmed, Sam Daniel, NDTV.
Up ahead, why is poster boy and actor Surya wanted in all of the police stations across Chennai? Find out in just a moment.